So here's a big one. Have we been visited? I mean, really visited? It's a question that has captivated people for decades. And for some researchers, the answer isn't out there in deep space. Nope, it's right here, buried in our own ancient past. So let's dive into this really fascinating and, let's be honest, pretty controversial idea, the ancient astronaut theory.
Okay, so this whole idea gets kicked into high gear with this quote from an author named Zecharia Sitchin. Now imagine this. You spend 30 years poring over these ancient Sumerian clay tablets, some of the oldest writing on Earth. And the conclusion you come to is this: the gods they were talking about, they weren't myths, they weren't metaphors, they were real flesh and blood visitors from another planet.
And at the very heart of Sitchin's theory is this group called the Anunnaki. This name comes to us from way, way back, ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization. And let me tell you, the story that's been pieced together about them doesn't just add a new chapter to human history, it tries to completely rewrite it from page one.
All right, so let's get specific. Who or what were the Anunnaki? Now, your standard history book will tell you they were the pantheon of gods for the Sumerians. But according to this theory, the name itself literally translates to those who from heaven to earth came. The idea is that these were super advanced beings from a mysterious 12th planet in our own solar system, a planet they called Nibiru. So why come all the way to Earth? Well, according to these interpretations, their mission was an act of pure desperation. Their home planet's atmosphere was failing, and the one thing that could save it was gold, not for jewelry, but to create a kind of atmospheric shield. But, mining is brutal work. When their own workers had had enough, they came up with a pretty radical solution. They took a primitive hominid already living on Earth, tinkered with its DNA, mixed in some of their own, and created a new species, a worker race, us, Homo sapiens.
Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. That's one heck of a story from one ancient culture. It sounds like a great sci-fi movie, but is it just a myth? Well, maybe. But here's where it gets really strange. Proponents of this theory say, hold on a minute. If you zoom out and look at ancient cultures from all over the planet, you start to see a pattern, a really weird pattern. It's like you find these echoes all over the globe, stories that are weirdly similar, even though these cultures were separated by vast oceans and huge stretches of time. And they all seem to point to the same thing. Someone or something came down from the sky. I mean, think about it. You look at the Quran, language is a gift from on high. The sacred book of the Maya, same thing. The gods gave them language. The ancient Egyptians wrote about gods bestowing wisdom. Then you have the Zuni and Hopi tribes in North America with their legends of the Kachinas who came from the stars. The Dogon people in Africa tell of a creator god Nomo who descended from the sky. The names change, the places change, but that core idea that civilization was a gift from sky beings, it just keeps popping up again and again.
But okay, stories are one thing. What about physical proof? Well, this is where the theory takes another turn. The argument is that our ancestors didn't just tell stories about these visitors, they drew pictures of them. They carved what they saw, not on paper, but right into solid rock. Let's travel to a place called Val Camonica in Italy. It's this valley that's just, literally, covered with over 140,000 rock carvings, some thousands of years old. And you see what you'd expect, right? People hunting, animals, village life. But then you see these things, figures with these giant rounded heads, almost like helmets, with weird lines radiating from them. They don't look like anything else there. And that's when you hear the theorists say it. Spaceman, exactly. Look at the helmet. The resemblance is just uncanny. And their argument is, look, this isn't some abstract drawing of a spirit. This isn't a shaman's dream. This is someone drawing what they saw. A literal depiction of a visitor in some kind of headgear, an eyewitness account carved in stone. Okay, so we've got ancient texts and weird rock art. But now we get to what might be the single most mind-bending piece of this whole puzzle. And it doesn't come from a carving or a tablet. It comes from the astronomical knowledge of one single isolated tribe in Africa. We're talking about the Dogon people of Mali. For hundreds, maybe thousands of years, they've passed down this incredibly complex, sacred knowledge about the cosmos from one generation to the next. And hidden inside all that tradition is a piece of information, a detail so specific, so precise, that it has left mainstream scientists just scratching their heads for decades. So check this out. It's all about the stars Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. The Dogon knew for centuries that Sirius had a tiny companion star,
a star that is completely invisible to the naked eye. I mean, you need a seriously powerful telescope to see it. Not only that, they knew it was incredibly heavy and dense, and that it had a 50-year orbit. Here's the kicker. Modern astronomy only confirmed all of this in the 19th and 20th centuries. We didn't even get a photograph of this star, which we call Sirius B, until 1970.
So the question is just, how? How on earth did they know? No telescopes, no advanced computers. How did they possess this incredibly specific knowledge about a star system that's over 8 light years away? Well, if you ask the Dogon, their answer is simple. They say this knowledge wasn't discovered, it was given to them by gods called the Nomo, who came from, you guessed it, the Sirius star system.
All right, let's just pause and connect the dots here. When you put all this stuff together, the theorists say you have to stop looking at them as separate, weird little coincidences. They argue you're actually looking at the scattered puzzle pieces of one single incredible story, the real story of our past. So the pattern they lay out looks like this. You start with the oldest written records on Earth, which seem to describe non-human creators. Then you find those same sky god stories echoed in myths from pretty much every corner of the world. After that, you've got ancient art that looks an awful lot like helmeted visitors. And to top it all off, you have the Dogon with this impossible knowledge of a distant star, knowledge they claim was a gift.
Now, it is absolutely crucial to say that mainstream science and history have a very different take on all this. The academic world argues that this is all a massive misinterpretation, that we're taking rich, complex mythologies and trying to read them like literal history textbooks, that we're looking at symbolic art and seeing spaceships where there are none. For them, the answer isn't in the stars, it's right here, in the incredible creativity of human culture.
And that's where we're left, standing right at a crossroads. So what do you think? Is all of this just a collection of really fascinating coincidences of stories and art that we're just reading wrong? Or could there be something more to it? Is it possible that all our ancient myths, all our legends of gods from the sky, are actually a kind of forgotten history? A chapter of our own story so profound we've tragically dismissed it as fantasy. A history that suggests that maybe we've never truly been alone.